Voltz, and I'm in an undisclosed location doing what I do best, which is just eating the world. You guys are going to notice a very interesting looking tunnel bore shape right here. This is the tunnel bore that we are using basically to more or less mine a rather large portion of the world up. I started this base with like a, you can see this was the outer edge right here. This was the outer edge, and then this was the outer edge. So I just dug out a very small little spot here, and from this little area here, I've managed to basically run everything we've got so far. And you really don't need a whole lot of space to get started with a force field. As you get bigger, obviously you're going to need bigger, but at least when you first get started, you don't really need all that much. Now I'm going to go ahead and set up a couple more Fortron capacitors before we get started here, and then I'm going to go ahead and kind of cover basically, wait, 7, 4, 2, 3, 6. I'm going to cover basically all the basics, everything you need to know, and more or less how you can get started. 7, 4, 2, 3, 6. Not only protecting yourself, but also mining for a ridiculous amount of resources. I highly recommend using force field mining to get started. Well, maybe not get started. It's more intermediate to advanced play. I mean, obviously you're going to have to get some basics going before you can get to this level. And just these modules alone are pretty expensive. But once you get up there, it's not so bad. All right, so you can see that we've got this little tunnel bore. I'm going to show you basically how we've got this, and I'm going to show you guys how to do it yourself. So you'll notice right here that we have an invert module, a collection module, a disintegration module, 3 speed modules, a bunch of things here, and then a cube mode. Now you can mine in a variety of different ways. If you want to use spheres, you can. If you want to use, there's a bunch of different methods you can use if you so choose. For me personally, I prefer to use cubes because it makes it very easy to deal with. But you can use what other method you want. There are other modules. You're going to notice we've got scale module set up here and then translation module. The scale module, all it basically does is move things out one direction. So for instance, we're going to set up another force field right over here. And we're going to place it, let's see, we'll place it right here. That'll work. Let me go ahead and set it up. 7, 4, 2, 3, 6. There we go. And that's going to start charging as it pulls in. Jody, I need another cube module if you can, please.
Okay.
Now these capacitors, I guess we'll just start at the very, very basics. Coercion drivers, these are what make Fortran. Fortran is the power system that force fields need. Without Fortran, you have no force field. So you need...
There you go.
Thank you, ma'am. You need, well, you may or may not need a lot of them. Keep in mind, for the average computer, these things are nasty, so you want to be careful. You don't want to build too many of them, because this little effect right here on non-God computers, when you have too many of these, can really drop you in frames. So if you've got a potato, be careful with how many coercion drivers you build. Fortron capacitors, these things absorb energy from the coercion drivers and then they pass it on to other things. You can bypass capacitors if you want, if you have enough drivers. A lot of servers actually ban Fortron capacitors because of FPS lag and other reasons. We've got them pretty stable now, so we've left them in. Kind of use them at your own discretion. So keep in mind you may have some issues with these if you have too many of them. All right, so we've got our force field here. We've got our cube module here. One of the first things you want to do is establish a perimeter. That's the way I usually do it. So the way I do it is like this. I knock holes in the walls that I'm looking for. So I'm going to look for this one here. I'm going to look for this one here. I'm going to look for that one there. And then for now, we're going to look for that one up there. So first off, we know up. So right now this is block 0. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We want to go 5 up. So we'll take scale 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Put 5 up, and when I turn it on, boom. You'll notice the force field's going straight up. And if we break that block, you can see it's right there. If I break the block above it, oops. Be careful touching your force field. It can kill your ass. Now if we break this, it will not go any higher. So the reason we're only going 1 up for right now is it just makes it easy for us to see where it is. All right, so we want to go left, 1, 2, 3, 4. So we'll go ahead and put 4 in there. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now be careful when you're doing this. As you can see right here, to me, this is left. But to the force field, that's left. So we need to go 1 more left in that direction. So that's kind of scary. The problem is, we know this is left, but sometimes things get a little wonky and it still is a little funky. So if this is left, then back should just be 1. Now I need to be careful with this because if it screws up and goes forward, yep, so there's back. So we now know where left and back are. So 1, 2, 3, 4. We want to go right 4. So let's go 1, 2, 3, 4. And boom, now we're there. So we have right, left, and up. Now we need to go down. So you'll notice we are flush. We want to go 2 down so that we don't mine our floor. You can mine your floor if you want to, but be careful, because if you mine your floor, there's a chance that you might mine yourself. Now, normally, what you'd want to do now is you'd want to come over here and bust this block out here. So we've got this block out here. For demonstration purposes, I'll go ahead and show you. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So we're just going to put 9 blocks here real quick, just so I can show you guys the full setup. All right, and now we're complete. At this point, we are protected. If we wanted to be protected, our base is 100% sealed. You can see. Now keep in mind, this is not a good way to do it. You would actually want the force field right here. The reason for that is, this right here, there's not actually a force field block until you break it. So you're not getting any protection there until you break that block. So you're going to want to clean all that out. That being said, for mining purposes, this is a little bit better setup. So let me go ahead. Jody, I need disintegration, collection, and inversion again. Sorry. Now we'll go over the different modules, and I'll show you guys how to use those here in just a second. I don't think I've got any other stuff. Oh, I'll also need a fuzzy bus, and that should do it. That should technically be the last thing I need, I think. There we go. You'll want to put a chest over the top of your little miner. Reason is because you're going to be mining and you're going to keep what you got. And I'm going to go ahead and turn the force field off for the moment. Okay, so what we're going to want to do...
disintegration,
inversion.
What else?
Sponge, and that's it. That should be enough. Actually, I don't need sponge. I've got one. I can use it in multiple spots, so not really a problem.
There was something else as well.
Collection, inversion, disintegration.
Fuzzy. That's the one.
Oh, fuzzy. Yes, need a fuzzy. Happy thoughts. Alright, and we're going to go here. And I'm going to dodge that right there for now. Thank you, madam. Alright, boom, 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 boom. Okay, so before you get mining, you're going to want to set up your little fuzzy bus here. Put it there. You can use other buses. I like fuzzies because they'll pull anything. You don't have to tell them, and you can set them to stacks, and it just yanks basically everything out of here. Now, we've already shown that we have this force field set, 1 below our platform, 1 outside the wall, 1 up, 1 forward, and 1 backward. So I'm going to go ahead and show you guys what it looks like when you get all this stuff set up. Put your collection module in first. Do not use the invert module on this setup. Do not, because you will mine your base, and you will be very butthurt and very angry, and you will want to hurt Pyro, and I will just laugh at you. So you definitely do not want to do that. Now you can see it's mining everything out. So we've got everything mined out now in a nice little 1 extra block area, which is nice. All right, so we're going to turn it off. Now we're going to use the invert module. Now the invert module is a little different. What it basically does is with this setup, it just mines where the force field is. So right now the force field's right there. If I turn the force field on, it's going to mine that block, but it will not mine this block right here. And it will not mine that block there. Both of those have their places. They're nice, but let's say you want to mine an entire area quicker, like this, for instance, this little tunnel bore here. You want to mine all of this area really fast. Ow. All right, so this is tricky, and you need to be very careful with this because, again, force fields can kill you. So we want to move this entire little force field that we've got here this way. So what we're going to do is we're going to use translation modules to move it. So we already know that this is the direction that we're wanting to go because we've already mapped them out. If you don't map out your directions, you won't know where it is. So definitely look into that. Now I'm going to be extra safe, and we're going to go with 15. Now 15 is going to probably overmove it. It's going to be way too much, but I would rather be overmoved than undermoved. And it's kind of hard to guesstimate this, but we're going to knock a little hole here so I can see. We are not going to mine with this. We are just going to display. So we're going to go ahead and take the disintegration out, and we should be good. So we're going to fire that up, and you can see there's our force field. So we're 1, 2, 3, 4 blocks too far. So we'll turn it off. 1, 2, 3, 4. Put it back in. Turn it back on. Double check. Boom. That's exactly where we want to be. Now, we've already mined kind of, you know, this little area here, but we might want to mine, since we're going big. What do you say we mine a nice, decent sized area? So we're going to pull a bunch of these modules out. Now, you got to be careful with how you do these because, well, number one, this is going to be a very hungry force field. And number two, you can run into some liquids. So this is a sponge module. I'm going to show you guys how this works first before we do everything else. Don't need disintegrate. We're going to leave that in there, and then we're going to leave inversion in there. Okay, so we know this is backwards, so we do not want to expand this direction right here. If we expand in this direction right here, bad things will happen. That is moving things in this direction. So we already know where our force field starts. If we tweak this axis right here, we're going to basically be putting it on top of us. So we're going to put 64 here. We're going to put 64 here. And our force, this may actually be too big. With the recent force field changes, this may be too big. And then right here, we're just going to put, because we're already pretty low, but I'm going to put, we're going to put 10 here. Okay. I'm going to turn this on. What this is basically going to do now, and it may be too big. Nope, it's working. You're going to see all these little lights going on. Well, you're going to be like, well, you took the disintegration module out. What are you doing? Well, we are under a lake in this setup, and what it's doing right now is upstairs, it is replacing all of the water source blocks up there with cobblestone. This cobblestone is generated not from what you've got. It's done pretty much just out of thin air. So it's free cobblestone. So you figured out how to break the economy, guys. You can make millions of cobblestone for free, and it won't cost you anything. There are a few exceptions to what the sponge module will pull. Number one, the sponge module will not do oil because as far as MFFS is concerned and pretty much everything else in Minecraft other than Galacticraft, oil in 1.52 Galacticraft is a solid. I've shown this in other videos, but you can actually put gravel and sand on top of oil and it will not go through it. You can go through it, but nothing else can. So it's a solid. You have to actually manually go through and cover that up. You'll notice that down here we had 2, we had 1 there, and we had 1 there. So I had to do those manually. You'll have to do the same. So if you bump into some oil, you're gonna have to handle that by yourself. The other one, herp. Well, we call it herp. I don't know what you actually call it. It's sludge, poopy water, whatever you want to call it. I think there's 2 different variations. The sponge doesn't seem to remove those either. So if you've got a bunch of poopy water, you're gonna have to handle it by yourself. This will get rid of lava. It will get rid of water. That's pretty much it. That's pretty much it. Now, the reason you want to get rid of lava and water make cobblestone. So if you get lava and water in close proximity, you can actually make a rather nasty little lava field, and you'll basically create a cobblestone generator. And you'll basically sit there until the second coming of Christ, basically, and you're just going to be sitting there and watching it mine cobble forever and ever and ever. So it's kind of, it can really be a problem with invert modules if you don't sponge. And on top of that, with the way the water source blocks and everything work in 1.52, even if you do it first, you can still have a problem because lava source blocks don't act like lava source blocks do in 1.6 and 1.7. You can destroy a lava source block and the lava will not go away. So this only removes source blocks. If you get a nasty flow, it doesn't get rid of it. And so sometimes you have to go and cobble it yourself. So you're going to want to keep some water on hand and just kind of handle it yourself, deal with it that way, and you ought to be okay. You ought to be okay for the most part. So we've got a rather large lake above us, it seems. This thing does mine fairly quickly, but apparently it's going not quite as fast as I would like. We don't have any more speed modules, but that's not a big deal. We're probably already at cap speed. So we're going to give it just another second or so, and then we're going to switch on the mining. Now, keep in mind, If you find oil, if you find lava, it's imperative that you jump on them quickly, because as this digs area out, your lava or your oil or your herp water is going to expand out. And you won't know where the source block is. I mean, you'll have an idea, but you can, like, we had a nightmare the other night on the stream where we had lava, herp water, oil, and water all mixed together in like this nasty water apocalypse. It was fucking horrible. It took like what, an hour for us to fix? 2 hours?
About that.
Yeah, because you
And
basically
lots of buckets of water.
yeah, it's because you have to basically dump water on the cobble, wait for the thing to mine it, or on the lava, wait for it to mine it, and then just keep nuking the source blocks over and over again. With oil, you actually have to find them and place cobble on them to get rid of it, and same thing with herp water. And if it makes an infinite source, which it does quite often, you are completely and utterly screwed. So definitely be careful with that. Oh my god, Jody, I may have made a very large watery mistake here. Dear God.
Oh dear.
TP accept. Alright, so while we're waiting on this thing to do its thing, I'm going to show you guys how to set up a biometric matrix thing real quick. Now, these right here are awesome. Biometrics allow you to do two things. One, it allows you to kill people, and two, it allows you to not kill yourself. These are two very, very important things. All right, so market mail, let me get your card and my card. Okay, so this is the biometric identifier. You want to put this on the same frequency as your force field, so 74236. So let's do 74236. It is imperative that you put this number in first. If you put this number in after you set your cards, you will die, because you just basically set your card to a completely different thing. Once you've got it all set up, you want to click all of these icons. You don't have to click all of them. You can click some of them. You don't have to give 100% rights if you don't want to. It's your call. Once you do, you're going to see right here, all of them. Take it and put one of you in the master. I usually put me because I'm Jody's master. She just hasn't figured it out yet. She'll get there. She'll get there. If the card already has some stuff on it, you're going to want to clear it like I am right here, because you're basically saying no to that old one and yes to the new one. Now that we've got this on, you can see that we've got block alter, block access, bypass defense, bypass confiscation, and remote control. Boom. So the biometric is now on. Let's do the matrix. Now the matrix, these are nasty little mamma jammas right here. These things will straight up kill you. You need a couple modules though to kill people with. First off, make sure you pay real close attention to how this works, because we have a lot of people kill themselves with their own matrices and fuck it up. So first off, make sure it's on the same frequency. So 74236. Put it in 74236. All right, we're good. Make sure it's on the same frequency as this. Yep, master identifier. We are good. Then you're going to want to set your range. So there is a new range nerf that we've put in. I'm just going to put a stack in. That's 64 blocks in every direction for right now. It'll get the job done. And we're going to put anti-personnel in. I think you can get this out to 150, 160 blocks now because we've nerfed them. Back in the day, you could get out to, what was our old one, 450?
About that.
Yeah, you could go
480 something, I think.
Yeah. You could go 450-ish blocks in every direction, which basically allowed you to have an area of like 1,600 blocks. It was ridiculous. So we nerfed it down so people would have a chance to hide if they wanted to. So once you've got the anti-personnel module and you've got the scale module, one other thing you're going to want to do is you want to put a chest here. If you don't put a chest here, it's just going to spit the items up. If you put this in connection with maybe this or any other module, it will try and fill that as well as the chest. So just put a chest next to it, it'll spit into the chest, and you'll be good. I don't think it works with other chests, so if you try to use some of the other chests, it may not work. Keep that in mind. All right, so we've got it gone. Everything's set up. We've got the scale module. We've got the anti-personnel module. Make sure you have it set to banned and not to the other, because it won't work that way. Jody, do you trust me?
I really hope I don't die.
Do you trust me? It would be rather hilarious if in a tutorial video showing people how to do this, I fuck up and kill us.
Should I slash spawn just in case?
Sure, why not? Why not?
What's the range on it?
64. I can shrink that. You know what? We're going to shrink that down. Just in
I
case.
was going to say, just to test.
Yeah, I'm going to put it at 2 blocks in every direction. So that will kill us.
And then stand on top of it.
Yeah, and that'll kill right here. Okay, here we go. And I'm alive. Now, if I wasn't in here, if I wasn't in the biometric identifier, this would be screaming at me. Well, actually, it would have killed me. Jody, being nearby, would be getting a message, you know, you are in range of the biometric identifier, or, you know, blah, 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 you're about to die. You want to be careful with that. So I'm going to go ahead and scale it up. Boom, we're up to 64. And anybody who comes within 64 blocks of us will instantaneously die. There's no damage. There's no way to survive it. You are just dead. It will kill you in any armor, naked, doesn't matter. You're dead. It will even kill you in creative mode or God mode. I forget which one it is. You have to have both of them. One of them will make you immune, but the other one won't. So if you're in creative, it'll still kill you. They're ridiculous. They're absolutely ridiculous. I am going to, however, turn that off because we want to make sure that we've got enough power to run everything else. Dear God, it is still Jesus. Keep in mind, this is a maxed out force field. So this one, when it does finally run through its thing, it is going to be mining a 64 by 64 by 64 area. So that's a massive spot. The nice thing is I can run this one here. I can run this one here. I could set up another one here, and I could set up another one here. So I could mine all 4 sides at the exact same time while putting a force field over my base and a matrix. So there's a lot you can do with this. There's a whole lot you can do with this. This is just the basics. I haven't shown you like the anti-mob, the anti-unhostile mobs. I haven't shown you the camo blocks and things along those lines. You guys can play around with those and kind of figure it out. But this should get you started. This is how me and Jody have acquired so many things. This is how we pay our bills. So hopefully it will help you guys. So anyways, for those of you watching on YouTube, hopefully you guys found this video helpful. If you did, please slap that like button. Make sure you subscribe. And I'll catch you guys in the next clip. 11:15:19.
Right. Just come and hug